Welcome parents and carers. Thank you for accessing the video resource on multiliteracies. This video resource has been developed to provide families with an opportunity to learn about the theory of multiliteracies. Literacy is fundamental to a person's ability to learn at school and to engage productively in society. It allows us to communicate effectively and to make sense of the world. The importance of literacy cannot be understated, as it allows individuals to have a voice. Traditional elements of literacy, reading, writing, speaking, and listening, focus on a singular national form of language and its governing rules. However, the world is changing at a rate unseen before, and therefore the way in which we teach and learn literacy also needs to change. The theory of multiliteracies encapsulates those traditional literacy approaches and extends them to focus on modes of representation much broader and dynamic than language alone. Multiliteracies addresses two major aspects of literacy today: the range of communications, channels, and media, as well as the diversification of social worlds. In the first instance, new communication technologies have reshaped the way we communicate and learn. It is no longer sufficient to think about literacy solely as a linguistic accomplishment, where individuals convey meaning through spoken and written language. Traditional approaches must be extended to consider visual, audio, gestural, and spatial patterns of meaning. Referred to as modes, each mode offers different possibilities for how meaning can be created and understood. However, it is the dynamic combination of two or more modes that dominates text today. These are referred to as multimodal texts. The second aspect of multiliteracies, social worlds, reflects the realities of local diversity and global connectiveness. It situates meaning within a context where we have to negotiate differences stemming from linguistic diversity, cultural diversity, and subcultural diversity. Although English is becoming a global language, a single standard version of English is no longer sufficient. To be effective and productive citizens, we now increasingly need to interact using multiple languages, multiple Englishes, and communication patterns that vary across cultural, social, and professional contexts. Clearly, these are fundamental issues concerning the future, but when the future is so rapidly changing, how do we prepare students for success? To do this, multiliteracies focuses teaching and learning on the achievement of not only skills and specific knowledge, but rather on human qualities or dispositions. Multiliterate students are problem solvers, flexible, critical analysts, strategic thinkers, informed citizens, and socially aware and just. How we incorporate and encourage these multiliterate qualities into our teaching and learning is through opportunities for students to engage with a range of authentic, real-life, multimodal texts that closely relate to their own communities and life experiences. Each learning activity is thoughtfully designed and situated using the Learning for Design pedagogical approach. The Learning by Design pedagogy uses 4 elements of experiencing, conceptualizing, applying, and analyzing, which are further broken down into 8 knowledge processes. Each knowledge process represents types of activities which simulate ways of making knowledge and of learning in the same way. Experiencing. When learners experience the known, they reflect on their own familiar experiences, interests, and perspective. When learners experience the new, they observe or take part in something that is unfamiliar. Conceptualizing. When learners are conceptualizing by naming, they categorize, classify, and define terms. When learners are conceptualizing by theorizing, they make generalizations using concepts and make connections. Analyzing. When learners are analyzing functionally, they analyze logical connections, cause and effect, structure, and function. When learners are analyzing critically, they evaluate their own and other people's perspectives, interests, and motives. Applying. When learners are applying appropriately, they apply new learning to real-world situations and test their validity. When learners are applying creatively, they transfer their learning to different contexts. Together, the learning by design pedagogy represents a range of different ways of making knowledge. However, they are not intended to be a rigid learning sequence. The power of this pedagogical approach emerges from the mode switching, moving backwards and forwards between representations of meaning. When teachers consider knowledge processes underlying learning activities, they can then make choices about the most appropriate range and sequence of learning activities for their students. Thank you for accessing the video resource on multiliteracies.